Alrighty, it seems we're about ready to start with the next run, so you're going to start with Gargoyle's Quest 2 by Roguelink. Take it away.
Welcome to the Game Boy remake of Gargoyle's Quest 2. A kind of little-known game. Like, a lot of people know the Gargoyle's Quest series. Some people know Gargoyle's Quest 2. Almost nobody knows about this game. So let's just jump straight into it wearing my Firebrand colors. And give a countdown, I guess. 3, 2, 1. Let's go! So yeah, like I was saying, this is the Game Boy remake of Gargoyle's Quest 2. Way better than the original in all respects as far as I'm concerned. Better speedrun. I personally think this is the most speedrunnable Gargoyle's Quest game. It has the mechanics and physics similar to the first Gargoyle's Quest, so it's super fine-tuned, super elegant. But it doesn't have the random encounters of the first Gargoyle's Quest, so that's always a plus. And it doesn't have all of the ridiculous boss RNG of the second game. So, especially early on here, we're going to be making some kind of weird jumps. Like, you're not supposed to make that. But we can, because, you know, it's a speedrun, and we do all sorts of crazy stuff. That jump you are actually supposed to make, which it would have been hilarious if I missed, because I almost missed that. And thank you everyone who donated for the all collectibles incentive. So we're going to be getting everything, seeing all the secret levels, including some levels that were actually not in the original Gargoyle's Quest 2. So we're going to see all kinds of good stuff. I'll be sure to point out the route differences and probably some version differences as well. The biggest version difference, you know, we've seen so far is more consistent enemy spawns. So just a lot of consistency is gained when playing this version as opposed to the original Famicom release of Gargoyle's Quest 2. Kinda tricky here. There we go. Nice. And we're going to be getting our first collectible here. There's a couple health upgrades. There we go. That's going to be our first one. And what we're going to try to do, there we go, is make it all the way up here. And we can make it over, and this block right here is no damage. So we can just go straight over, and in this version we actually despawn the enemies over there. Gonna get this health for marathon safety, and pop in here. Let's see if I can get this right. Nope, missed it. So there's actually a 2-pixel window where you can stand in front of that boss and not get hit, so we're gonna have to be going the really safe route here, unfortunately, instead of the full aggro. Why aren't you dead? There we go. Okay, first boss down. That was actually some real unfortunate timing there. So the reason why we're in that stage is because we had to prove ourselves as a warrior, picking up that pot and, you know, saving the town in the process. But unfortunately, it's not enough to save this guy. So his last dying breath, he gives us a jump upgrade, because that's what is important in life, to get jump upgrades and things. This game's similar to Gargoyle's Quest 1, if you're not familiar. We've got a limited hover mechanic, which you saw me using to its full extent. Especially in this version of the game, we're going to be pretty much using what we can for this hover meter. Getting as much out of it as we can. And similar to Gargoyle's Quest 1, that's going to upgrade over time. So we can upgrade our health, we can upgrade our jump height, we can upgrade our wing strength. So unlike Demon's Crest, the third version, we're going to be having to deal with various strengths and abilities there. Going with a quick turnaround damage boost there and getting the double kill! And pretty smooth fight. That was really flashy. Getting a completely useless thing that we're not going to use. I don't even remember what it is. I think it's money or something. Jumping over this guy. Another pretty straightforward level. A lot of these early levels are pretty clean. Especially when, you know, the the game isn't forcing you to use all of your jump strength. Some of the jumps in this game are actually pretty tough. One of the disadvantages that this game definitely has in terms of a casual playthrough is that the Game Boy version has some blind jumps, which is a little awkward, but mechanically I think it's way better. So here we're actually setting up for one of the really important bits of tech in the game. We're going to be grabbing a couple passwords over the course of the game. This one's real important. When you die, you maintain all of your story progress, but you go back to wherever your password was. So we're going to be grabbing this password here and saving about 5 minutes with a death warp later. Just trekking our way through the overworld a little bit. Yeah, the original GQ2, you just like zip around the overworld. It's kind of funny. It's like Sonic on speed shoes all the time. I'm pretty sure this game's based on the GQ1 engine, so you move a little slower. This guy right here is trying to prevent us from going to this next stage, but we insist that we're brave, and as a reward he gives us the Dragon Armor, which is the first critical path health upgrade. Here we can actually make this jump right away, but it's pretty precise, so I usually don't go for it in marathons. The rest of this you can do pretty easily without stopping. Again, using... Oh boy. Okay, that's fine. Everything's fine. Nothing went wrong there. That's not instant kill lava or anything, it's fine. If I had $1 for every time I died in that level, it's not even a hard level, but if you try to go fast and optimize your hover strength, you can just, it's real easy to do something dumb. Speaking of real easy to do something dumb, maybe? Yeah, we got there. Okay. That's a really tight jump. Probably one of the harder jumps that's not required. Working our way through here. In the original, you can kind of clip onto this platform, but we got to go all the way around in this version. Ooh, there we go. Ooh. And anyone familiar with the original GQ2, some of our deaths are going to be a little different. So, like I mentioned earlier, the death warps are very important in this game. So, ooh, that's bad. So being at 0 health at the right time is very important. And in all collectibles, it's actually a little awkward, especially for this level, because we need to die in very specific places. So a lot of the time we actually have to burn through a decent amount of health. Unfortunately, we took some extra damage at the start, but we're able to die here, which is going to use one of our lives that we're trying to get rid of. And for some reason, the checkpoint is really low in that stage. So we ended up warping all the way up that little climb to the halfway point. Ooh, boy. Nope. Okay. Okay. I was expecting to get hit there. Fortunately, we actually would usually take an extra hit going down this drop, because we want to... There we go. We actually want to die in this room, so taking that extra hit was actually kind of beneficial. At the very least, it wasn't bad. This is Death Balloon. That's not even a nickname. It's literally just called Death Balloon. And it shoots little bubbles at you. And this is a pretty straightforward fight. It might be a little hard to tell, but he's basically using his breath to push and pull us in various directions.
To be fair, that is about the most terrifying thing a balloon can do, is to shoot death bubbles.
Fair. I mean, I wouldn't want to swallow a death balloon. Sounds like a bad time. So for beating that stage, we got the Night Drop, which no one has told us we need yet. A lot of the NPCs, give you the plot and tell you the items you need, but since it's a speed run, we already know where everything is, we already know what we have to collect. So we already know we have to go into that stage to get said Night Drop, which it's going to get us a couple things. We're heading over to Majora or something like that. I'm pretty sure Majora is actually a nickname, and I can't remember his actual name. It's just close enough to Majora, a la, like Majora's Mask, that I just call him Majora. It's like Majora with more vowels or something like that, so it's harder to say. I think there's an I in there somewhere. And this is them. So we're handing in the Moondrop, and as a reward, we get the Candle of Darkness, which is, you know, obviously this one right here.
Clearly.
Clearly! So we do that, the room turns dark, and we get a massive plot dump where we basically find out we're a special breed of Gargoyle. And as a reward, we are given the Wings of the Fallen Angel, which is the next wing strength upgrade. And the next jump is actually the hardest jump that's required in this game. My current theory is that they knew about bridge skip from Gargoyle's Quest 1 and were like, okay, let's make it impossible. So this guy right here explicitly blocks you unless you have the... Okay, we made it. That's a really tight jump. That guy specifically blocks you unless you have the angel item, that Wings of the Fallen Angel upgrade. Specifically, like, that is your highest upgrade. Because if you have beyond that, he still doesn't let you buy. So it doesn't even check your wing strength. It checks for that specific item. It's really weird. And since this is all collectibles, we're actually going to be heading to a side level here. I don't know what this cave is called, but you know what Gargoyle's Quest always needed? It needs an ice level, because why not? Oh boy. So a lot of this is, you know, standard ice physics. You're supposed to kind of have this run-up time, but if you short hop, you're able to go full speed right away. Drop down here real quick. But a lot of this, like these sliding shots are super suboptimal right now. I'm actually doing a pretty bad time. And these guys are just super rude in the worst spots of all time. And they respawn, and what are you even doing? Come on, there we go. So that's how that's supposed to go. And I have to do it one more time. Got him. Okay, we got there. Oh, wait, no, I lied. One more time. What? Okay, this is actually a problem. Okay, gotta be real safe. So I'm missing, like, a ton of damage boosts now. Okay, we got there. Whoa! Ah, rude. I might actually be screwed here. Oh, that's bad. So, I accounted for this. So, we just got absolutely rickety wrecked, ladies and gentlemen. So, instead of running all the way back, let's get a donation. So, we actually have, this game has a pretty clever password system. And I'm able to load at any point in the game. So, I'm going to put in a quick password here. And we'll get right back to where we were, because, you know, marathon safety and all. Sorry about this, but I just got absolutely destroyed by that stupid cave. And then 5. This is going to mess up some of our death warping, unfortunately, but you can see I can at least explain some really neat stuff with the password system when we run into that. It'll unfortunately mean I'll have to load a password later, but at least the run continues, because this is honestly a really, really tough run. So it's unfortunate that I have to use this, but I did have it on my phone just in case, because you never know what could happen. Sometimes those jumpy boys are just rude and give you a bad time. And that should be it. So, yep, we're loading into the ice cave with the exact items and everything that we had previously. This unfortunately means that when we die for our death warp, we're actually going to go to this exact screen with this exact setup. So I'm going to have to put in a password afterwards to kind of simulate the death warp and all that jazz. But hopefully we can at least have a better stage here. But those respawns were really savage. I've never seen them respawn so close like that. I thought it was at least a distance, but it seems like the triggers worked very differently from how I originally envisioned them. It's fine. Everything's fine. Got him. See? Like, he didn't respawn that time. I'm just gonna take... Sure. There we go. And usually I would damage boost through these guys, but I'm just gonna play it wicked safe here. Yeah. Yeah, sometimes the ice can really throw you off. But hey, since we know how to manage our flutters here, we can just go right to the end. Also, surprise. There we go. So, there we go. We made it through. Ugh. That was abysmal. And you know what we get for that? We get an upgrade that we never want to use. So for doing that, we actually got a power-up to our basic shot. And it makes your basic shot homing. So you'd think, hey, that sounds pretty awesome. Why wouldn't I want a shot that's homing? Well, good sir or madam, that's because it homes in on whatever's closest. You might think, oh, that's fine. Why wouldn't you want that? Oh, because that includes things behind you. So it's just real bad. There we go, there we go. Whoop. So pretty clean level here. There's a lot of dropping shots you have to maintain. And most of these spikes are instant kills as well. So you have to be pretty careful. Here we can just slide under here. And once again, sliding through that ghost. This is Sandfrog, also not a nickname. He's just called Sandfrog. This guy can be pretty tricky. What we want to do is kind of lock him into position. Unfortunately, we screwed it up a little bit. He's got these little frogs he can launch. At least he didn't do that. And fortunately, we've got a little bit of extra health to play with. There we go. Nice. That was a very solid fight. There's a few things that he can do there that really ruin your day. So this is usually the part of the run where I die once, and because, you know, I flawlessly played through this game, which I clearly didn't this time, we would go back to that password that we saved really early on. But just to like show you what's going on here, what this is actually going to do, because of how the password system works, it locks in our... Oh, right, because we have 3 lives. Sorry about that. It actually locks in your starting location, quote-unquote, as the password that you used. So instead of going back, since we used that special password, it actually sends us to right here. So I need to put in another password real quick to be further ahead, since, you know, because reasons. This is just punishment for me being bad at the game right now. So if you have any donations, now would be a perfect time.
Alright, doesn't look like we've had any new donations, but I can go ahead and plug the charity. So we are Calithon 2018, centered in San Francisco, and we are in support of Direct Relief, which is a charity that helps people who need emergency assistance and help because of poverty, natural disasters, or any sorts of emergency situation by quickly delivering essential medical supplies and resources. Direct Relief works in over 80 countries and all 50 states of the United States, so they're very cosmopolitan in that. Also, give a thanks to our sponsors. Twitch is one of our sponsors. Most of you, I imagine, are watching us on Twitch. If you're watching us via a YouTube video, we are sponsored with Twitch, who has helped out considerably with our marathon this year. We are also sponsored by Bebo, who is an up-and-coming stream software. So one of the perks to Bebo is that it uses less resources. So if you have especially if you have lower functioning PC, it's definitely very helpful. It looks like we got the run back together. Cool.
Sorry about that. So I'll do a quick recap. So this is right back to where we were. Unfortunately, I didn't have the actual password listed, but the actual password, wouldn't take me back. So we would have death warped back to town, which is around here somewhere. It doesn't matter. Anyway, the guy would have given us an upgrade called the Tornado Shot, which is really useful, except for the fact that we're not going to use it. There's a level later, and you're supposed to use it here, but instead, we're going to keep this shot on, which ideally we'd be saving a menu, but, you know, password shenanigans. So ideally, you're supposed to use that shot here, but with very clever damage boosting, you're actually able to make it through here pretty easily. So that actually saves you 2 menus, which menus are pretty slow in this game, as you've seen. So any menu that you can save is pretty optimal. Here we're gonna grab a actual save point, so we shouldn't have to do any more password shenanigans the rest of the run. It's really just that first stretch that's really rough. It's a massive time save if you can get it, but if you don't, yeah, you're gonna have a bad time. So this is the Fate King. That is actually a nickname. I have no idea what this guy's called. But he's impersonating the king of this town. And we can't have that. So, just gotta... There we go. And should be about 1 shot left. There we go. We got him. This guy's pretty straightforward. Mostly just damage boosting, camping on walls, all that good stuff. So this is when the enemies start realizing that you are the Firebrand, Esquire MD. And they start being concerned with how powerful you're getting.
Do you have a license to practice dentistry as well?
Yeah, but he tends to not get too many patients. For obvious reasons. So now we start seeing the tornado shot. So it's real useful. It allows you to make a temporary platform that you can jump on and use, but it causes a fairly significant amount of lag, and you can only have 2 of them on screen at a time, which is real unfortunate. There we're being very careful to only kill certain bees, because keeping the bees alive, there's only so many bees and so many sprites that can be on screen at once. If you keep that particular bee alive, it prevents bees from spawning in front of you, which it's way easier to deal with bees behind you than it is to deal with bees in front of you, let me tell you that.
I swear, this is like the 3rd game I've hosted or couched this marathon already that has just bees as a thing.
Well, you know what they say, not the bees.
Not the bees.
Not the bees. So these are the twins. They're rude, but they're not nearly as bad as they are in the original. Here we just open up with some left-right. There is a minor soft lock that we have to worry a little bit about here. We just have to not kill both of them at the same time, which is usually pretty easy. Generally speaking, you want to focus on one at a time anyway. There we go. Unfortunately, I think we're going to get 2 sets of tornadoes here because I ended up shifting which one I was focusing on. Pretty slow attack. You can, if you're real quick, you can actually get these 2 dead before. There we go. Want to make sure that that first animation finishes. If you don't let that first animation finish and you start killing the second one's animation never finishes. You have to throw yourself into the instant kill pit. But we killed him, so that's super awesome. And we can find the real king, who was hidden away back here, and he's super weak, he can't do anything. So what he decides to do is give us a massive power boost. And this is where some of the routing for this category comes in. We want to get this upgrade as soon as humanly possible, because it actually allows us to skip some more menuing. So we won't need to use that tornado shot for quite a while, as opposed to having to switch back and forth between all of these hidden bosses and all these levels. So, speaking of which, this is another optional level. There's a little side quest in this section where we're trying to get the Waters of Life, I believe, and the Scales of Dagon. And the Waters of Life are just right here in this random area. It's supposed to be this really nice back and forth with tornadoes and really interesting up and down. But since we have that jump upgrade, we're able to just cruise through there with some convenient damage boosts. Here you might think, oh hey Roguelink, why aren't you just taking your Death Warp that you were talking about before? And that's because it's actually a lot slower. In order to Death Warp there, that means every time you die, you get 2 lives back. So what we actually need to do is we're going to save the Death Warp for this next stage, because it's actually really slow to die in the next stage, because there's no instant kills. For a little bit of marathon safety, and because this run's going oh so well already, I opted to not go for all of the deaths in the previous stage. The Twins room actually has some instant kill spikes, and that's usually what we use to clear out our lives. That was Dagon. He's weird. Some like snake dog thing. He's the second half of that side quest. And now we're doing the second of 2 stages that are new to this game. So this level's pretty weird. There's spikes all over the place on the ground. And we want to do 2 things. Get over the spikes and not touch the spikes. But most importantly, these switches actually can be like out of the way and lose you time. So a lot of the routing for this stage is trying to skip as many switches as possible. And we're able to do that because every spike actually only has 2 states. So a spike is either on or off, and switches just flip those 2 states. So what we actually do, I actually screwed that up a little bit. I wanted to skip that last spike. And go for this one, because it's really far away to the right. Ooh, I missed the damage boost, but that's okay. So you'll see that this area out here, even though I didn't hit a switch, doesn't have spikes. That's because we skipped a switch, so we were able to make it over one spiked area. And we have that last switch, which clears out this last area. And we got our second secret upgrade, which unfortunately is also not very useful. Again, setting up for Death Warp here. So this death is pretty slow. So having to do this twice is slower than the walk back to town. So that's why we generally prefer to not take that first death. Actually, it's not even twice, it's 3 times. Here we're doing it only twice because we did a little bit of safety. But this is going to take us right back to town with this game over. On purpose this time, I swear. And now we're back here. So we're going to hand in all these little side quests we were doing. We got our scales. We're going to get a couple things. First thing we're going to pick up here is a health upgrade. This guy right here is like, hey, have you ever seen a health upgrade? And if you say no, he gives you a health upgrade. If you say yes, then he just doesn't give you anything. And the Dagon scales and the water is actually used for this guy. We're actually getting a pretty overpowered item. We now have the Essence of the Soul Stream, which is a potion that you can use every level. So every level I have a full health restore that just comes back. So it's absolutely incredible. The run is pretty safe at this point. You have to actively try to die or hit an instant kill in order to die at this point, which makes the bosses really easy, and it also means we can do some really nice damage boosting on a lot of the bosses. This is another boss that I don't know the name of. I usually just call him Mantis or Scyther or something like that. But he's pretty easy to lock into position. I'm having a little trouble with it right now, mostly getting it. But you can get a few shots on the way up, hover, and if you land in the right spot every time, he'll always shoot under you while you're jumping up, and you can lock him into a really nice rhythm there.
real quick, we got a $20 donation from Mr. Cab that says, Rogue!
Cab! Hi. So here we're dying twice. We're using up 2 of our lives. This is setting up for a death warp later. In other categories, we would actually save that for another time. But since this is all collectibles, we're able to do the crazy damage boosting with the potion that we have. So it's fairly safe. Nice. Didn't quite position myself quite right there. If you can get your hover right, you can actually slide right onto the next platform. Next up is the Mirror Maze. So this place is pretty interesting. It's another stage that's going to require the tornado. Again, a lot of damage boosting for optimal movement here. These crystal guys you can only destroy with the tornado. If you break them into anything else, or try to hit them with anything else, they'll end up just chilling there. Here we're going to slide by that guy, and a very precise tornado here, which we're just barely going to be able to make up top. A lot of the optimization for this level is trying to prevent left-right movement as much as possible. So we're trying to climb vertically, but we still have to space the tornadoes out at a very precise distance so that we're able to use as many tornadoes as possible. In the original Gargoyle's Quest 2, you're able to basically use the tornadoes infinitely, but in this game, the respawn timer for the tornadoes is much more strict. So you have to be very, very precise. Unfortunately, I missed the damage boost there. I was supposed to go the other direction. I'll just chill here, play it a bit safe. And we have the potion as well for the next boss, so it's not really much of a problem. Wrap around here. There we go. And time for the boss. So here, I'm going to be going for a kind of interesting strat. This boss has 2 forms, a form that looks like you and a form that doesn't look like you. The form that doesn't look like you, there we go. So I'm going to heal real quick. There we go. So let's see if I can get this. Come on. That might have done it. Nope, not quite. So if you can time it right, through your iframes, you can actually damage him while he looks like you. You're supposed to take damage every time you hit him while he looks like you, but during iframes, you don't actually take that damage, so you're able to just buzzsaw straight through him right in front of his face because he doesn't have iframes. Giant plot dump here that we don't care about. It's basically telling you that you're the main character of the game, which, you know, took us 20-25 minutes to get there, but hey, now we know for sure that we are in fact the main character of this story.
Sounds like very pertinent information.
You'd think that. It's also one of the few bits of text that you can't skip or speed up at all. In case you were wondering, there's actually a couple people who timed it out, but it is still slower to sit through that cutscene because that whole cutscene doesn't actually happen in English. You can speed it up. But in Japanese, you got to sit through the whole thing. Grabbing another password here for a death warp. This one's not that crazy, but it still saves a couple minutes. This place is supposed to be a maze. You're supposed to try to guess and figure out which entrance is correct, but hey, we already know which the right entrance is. Oh boy. Rude! Well, we still have enough health, and like I said, we've got that full health restore if we really need to use it. We shouldn't have to, though. There we go. Nice. So that's actually saving a menu right there. You're supposed to use the tornado in order to get up that jump, but tornadoes are slow. So what we do instead is we take that damage boost to bounce up just enough pixels to be able to grab that ledge. Here we're talking to the king and queen, King Rushafel and the queen whose name I don't remember. Honestly, the only reason I remember King Rushafel is because Rushafel is a character in the original Gargoyle's Quest. though in the original Japanese, Rushafel is literally just Lucifer. But through the magic of translation and the fact that they'd rather not have biblical references, the name was changed to Rushafel in English for the original Gargoyle's Quest and Gargoyle's Quest 2. So just an interesting bit of trivia there. Here we were sent by that guy who gave us the giant text block in order to fill and grant power to the Candle of the Nether Realm. I think that's what it's called, something like that. And in order to do so, we need to talk to the King and Queen. And the King and Queen also give us some upgrades. So we got a jump upgrade and a wing strength upgrade from those two. So we have a full bar of wing strength, which is the second strongest it's going to get. And we're going to use that Death Warp and these instant kill spikes in order to head back. Another game over on purpose, but it sends us right back here. We finish up that candle. There we go. And now we need to stop the summoning of Lord Goza, who is Lord Brager, who is the big bad. And the person trying to do that is Lord Goza, who we're going to go beat up next. And as you can see, we have all of the things. And we use that candle MacGuffin in order to break through that barrier that Goza put up. And we're going to head into the second to last stage. So this place is pretty neat. Originally, we used to menu here a lot more. And depending on how the damage boosts go, we might be able to get away with only menuing once or twice. But a lot of these enemies we used to swap to our new attack, the claw, and kill all of them. But turns out they don't actually care. And we can just slide through all of them. Damage boosting up here, and swapping to Tornado, which this is unfortunately one of the laggier rooms in the game. It's one of the few rooms that actually lag quite a bit. Otherwise, the lag's actually improved in this version compared to the original Gargoyle's Quest 2, which is always nice. They couldn't quite get rid of all of it, but it's still a much welcome improvement. So let's see if we can get these fancy damage boosts. Okay, we got a free one, which is nice. Oh, okay, that's new. There's your marathon. That's never happened before. I've never gotten up that left wall without taking damage before. That was crazy. Yeah, wow, that was neat. So this is Goza. He's actually really tough in any percent. And what we're going to do is we're going to damage boost and use the iframes, okay, in order to go pretty crazy, but we've got the health restore. Wow, come on. There we go. Nice positioning. So that was a little rough, but we still got there. Like I said, with that full restore potion, it's pretty free. Now Goza's like, "Blah, I summoned Breaker after all," and you're like, "K, I'm gonna kill him too." This is when Demogorgon, who is in no other Gargoyle's Quest game, just decides to show up. And it's actually Demogorgon, like the D&D god Demogorgon, just gives you a power upgrade right at the end. It's kind of random, actually. I'm not sure why they're here. But now we're at almost full strength. There's one collectible left to get. There's a health upgrade in this stage, which is real convenient, especially for any percent, because that means we can get an upgrade. But as you can see, we've got all of our inventory full down there. We had all of our inventory full as we were rifling through it, so there's just one more thing to get. Oh, and as you may have noticed, we also have infinite wing strength now, so a lot of everything's basically covered in spikes now. A real convenient spot here that you don't take damage. The corner of spikes tends to be just a suggestion here. And I'm going to go for a fair, kind of new fast strat here. Oop, a little too high. Oop, because we're trying to... Usually you would use a tornado here. There we go, nice. So we got through that without having to menu. Very clean. There's also a real clever damage boost here, but I'm not going to get it, unfortunately. Actually, we can... Nah, I'm not going to go for it. It's too risky. These are instant kill spikes down here, and if you miss the trick, then you just die. But when you kill those slime blobs... Oh boy. Rude. When you kill those slime blobs, they launch 5 shots at you. And it's possible to use your iframes from those 5 shots to just barely get around that corner and save a little bit of time. But hey, let's get hyped for the final boss. Hype! And hopefully I don't softlock. So, long story short, recently found some soft locks on this guy, where if you die at the same time as him, the game tends not like it, but we're fine. We just get right up in his face, mash him down, and he's dead. Just a few more inputs before time, but that's the last boss. We just need to talk to this dude, and time is going to be coming up. And... time! So I'm curious to know what that time was. It was probably kind of okay. It was probably like a 37 or something, but we used the password shenanigans, so it's not a valid run.
I think all the stuff that put to it, it's showing up here as a 40-45.
40-45? Oh, yeah. That sounds about right. That was a pretty garbage run, if I'm going to be perfectly honest.
Hey, man, it's all good.
Yeah, we got through to the end, so. Oh, well. At least I got to show you guys the whole game.
Alrighty, thank you very much for the run, Roguelink.
Yep.
It's a pretty neat game.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's a classic that no one knows about. So yeah, thanks for having me on for Gargoyle's Quest 2. Enjoy the rest of the marathon.
All right.